Let me guess, you're watching this video because you want an unbiased comparison between two very similar devices, the Hollyland Mars 300 and the Zhiyun image TransMount image transmission transmitter. I'm not making that up. That's what it says right here on the box. TransMount image transmission transmitter. Something tells me one of these two overthought it and the other one did it right. Maybe this review will be a little biased, and you're about to find out why. Do we have a signal?
No.
We're gonna go pair the devices and try this again. Do you have anything yet?
No. And I've got the Zhiyun screen on my computer, but...
Well, it's starting to storm out here. I don't think I have much time. Oh, you're kidding me. As you just saw, the Zhiyun you know what? Let's just call it the little transmitter. As you just saw, the little transmitter, well, it's neat. I'm going to give it a rating of neat because it has the ability to link to your phone and be able to transmit images there where you can then watch your footage, and it does provide a monitor. It's also around $200 or slightly less, and that's neat. But the problem is it doesn't work all the time, and they didn't really think it through. Let me show you a couple reasons why we had so much trouble in those videos right there. Just a second. Cables. They sent a bunch of cables, which that's nice. I really appreciate them doing that. But what they did not send is the cable that goes from here, you know, the little micro HDMI cable that goes into the actual transmitter right here. See, they're using, I believe it's an HDMI mini, which is smaller than a full-size HDMI like the Hollyland has right here. That's a full size. They're using a mini, but that's not the same as a micro. So I get it. Look, this device is a little smaller. They're trying to save space. But the problem is when you're out in the field and you're trying to shoot and you buy a device that has all these cables, you kind of expect it to come with the one it needs, which this one did not. So let's see what we had to do to make that work. We take the cable that Hollyland sent that goes from HDMI micro to regular HDMI. We plug that into our camera. All right, great. And then we find a cable that they sent. Let's go with, there it is. They sent an HDMI mini to full-size HDMI. So we'll plug that in here. And obviously that is not going to fit in there, but we can put this thing that we picked up at Micro Center and splice it together. Now they do make a cable that goes from HDMI mini to HDMI micro. They do make that cable that goes right in there, if you can see it, to right there, which they were out of stock at Micro Center. It's not a common cable, and if you have a Best Buy, you're out of luck. You're gonna have to order it online. It's frustrating, and I know I'm going on about something that is really, really minor, but that's not where it ends. With the Zhiyun little transmitter, this guy, it actually mounts to the bottom of this Zhiyun Weebill S, which I will say, the Weebill S is a fantastic gimbal. I love this. Zhiyun makes a lot of great products. This is one of them. It's an amazing, super lightweight little gimbal. This little guy was clearly rushed. But anyway, they make an adapter on the bottom that's pretty nice, and this slides right into it. And it just, well, it's sloppy. Now, to be fair, the reason this is sloppy is because these tiny, tiny little Allen screws in here aren't tight. The reason these aren't tight is because they're really small and not really common, and actually not a tool I have in my kit. And apparently that didn't come with ours. Now it may come with other ones. I don't know. I do know that the cable does not come with any other ones because I've seen a lot of very unhappy filmmakers out there. I will say this, we wanted to do a very unbiased review on this device and this little setup right here. And we did get it to work, but not for this review. We spent the last 3 days off and on trying to get it to work, and we just got spotty footage, some of which was like really low pitched audio and
everything's super low pitched. Crap. No! I'm like right up in the camera, like I can't remember where there it is.
Other was jumpy, and then it just kept cutting to the Zhiyun screen. We tried different cables. We got the right cable for a little while, and it wasn't that great. We also tried their neat little thing that makes it control the gimbal and makes it move around, but that's really not that useful, and well, yeah. So I know I've been really hard on these devices. Look, ours might have been faulty. There may have been some issues with these that did not exist in other devices. And if they want to send out some other ones to try, I'll try it. But honestly, I don't think I'm ever actually going to use them in real life, because this is not something you want to have if you have to get in front of a client. If you're going to be working around a client, you don't want a device that you have to link up with an app on your phone or get into Wi-Fi to use. You don't want a device that has a bunch of weird settings, and that you have to pair with the other device by getting a cable. They sent a lot of cables, just give me a moment. I think it's this one, and plugging it into this device, and then this device when you're out in the field to pair them. Now it says you only have to do this once, but we've had to do it like 3 or 4 times in less than a couple weeks. So yeah, that's not good. Look, by now I'm sure you're tired of listening to me rant and complain, because at the end of the day, it has been fun. I love playing around with camera gear and tech, and we love trying out new things. And I was really happy to have the opportunity to test this. It was just kind of frustrating because it wasted a lot of time. And I really wanted to like these things because, like I said, I absolutely love this Weeble S gimbal. I'm putting this back on here so it balances. This gimbal is fantastic. And I figured, you know what? It's made by Zhiyun. It's probably another good device, but it's not. It was rushed. So I guess I'm going to have to give it a rating, as I said earlier, of neat. The other transmission system that I hope you stuck around through all of my complaining to hear about is the Hollyland Mars 300. This little setup right here and right here. It is not as small as the Zhiyun system. It is a little bigger, and you also are going to need a Sony battery to snap onto here, just like this guy. It did come with a power cord, which you can use for the receiver, and then just put a battery on this side. They do make a Sony battery that's about half this size that will take the weight down a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's actually nice, because what you don't want to have, like the Zhiyun system, sorry, one last complaint, is a built-in battery that runs dead on you that you then have to recharge for a couple hours. Whereas with this, you can swap out the batteries and then you are good to go. When it comes to image quality and range, we'll show you some tests we did with this Hollyland right now. We started out by sending this little rig, well, maybe not real small rig, down a Wirral cable cam and sent it down a 300-foot cable because they said it has a 300-foot range. We were going to send these down there, but they didn't work. The Zhiyuns are junk. We sent this down there. It was a lot of fun. It was a little nerve-wracking, but it was a great way to test it. And I was thoroughly impressed with the footage. And right now we're gonna actually show you some of the footage of this going down the cable cam, and then we'll show you some footage from our woods behind our place. The reason we did it again is because we weren't able to get the footage on the Zhiyun system, and we figured we would try one more time. Well, guess what? That didn't work either. So hey, we got 2 good tests on the Mars Hollyland 300 system. And look, I think it's a really great little system. So why don't we just check it out right now and you guys can take a look for yourselves. We're gonna go about 350 feet down in the woods. It's a little bit dense, but I think we should be able to get a signal through there, so it really will be a good test. So right now we are on the Hollyland on an A7 III, and this is an A6300 set up on the hill, so you can see how far down in I have to go. So let's go check this out and see if we keep signal. I'm also trying to beat the rain today, so let's see how this goes. I completely lost the line of sight because of the hill. We're about 150 feet away. Say we're about 200 feet now. I have a blinking green light, and what that usually means is I'm probably cutting out. I'm probably losing a little bit of audio right now. So right up there, there's the camera, and then that window right there is where the transmitters are. And we're at about 250 feet now, so let's keep moving. Okay, from right here, I'm about 350 feet. I have a solid green light, which should be pretty good. So let's go a little further. Watch out for snakes and this stuff. Okay, that light is blinking green again. Let me hold this up high. I don't know if it's picking this up or not, but we're at about 350 feet through dense woods. I got the building behind me here. Let's see. I was really impressed at how well it did. They said it has a range of roughly 300 feet. That's why they call it the Hollyland 300, I suppose. It did well over 300 feet, and even in the woods, in the dense forest, it still worked. We had one minor little glitch, which I can point out. Outside of that, the footage was great, the audio was great, and the system just worked. And the best part is we just plugged them in with the HDMI cables, switched these 2 switches on, and they're already synced up. It's that quick. You plug the cable into the camera, which they included. You plug this into your monitor, and even maybe a second monitor, which they included that cable too, and you're good to go. And in our case, you can plug it into a live streaming system like the ATEM Mini or anything else, and you can have live footage on a roaming camera that's 300 to 400 feet away, and it's pretty reliable. As a matter of fact, I'd say it's really reliable, and that's fantastic. Now, the only thing I will say is it does have a little bit of lag. With this, you're gonna get about 10 milliseconds of lag, which is 1/100th of a second, 24 frames per second. Math, there's a lag. So the lag is just enough that your audio will get out of sync a little bit. And if that matters to you, it is something to consider. You can get a delay box, and then whenever you switch to the camera that's roaming around for live streaming, for example, you will put delay on the microphone that is separate, and that will sync it back up, but that's another few $100 device. Ideally, when you're using a roaming camera with something like this and you're going around filming something that's live, you're far enough away that the vocals don't have to time up perfectly, but it can be done. The other option is to transmit the audio to the camera and then have that camera send the audio into this guy and out this one, which would then also create that delay for you, but then you're gonna need another wireless transmitter to pull that off. but just an audio transmitter, it's $100 or $200 versus these, which are about $450 to $500. Another cool thing you can do with these wireless transmission systems, and one of the other big reasons we picked it up, is you can control a follow focus like this Nucleus Nano right here. This setup will allow you to monitor your footage in real time and control the focus with this little Nucleus Nano and some type of monitor. It's really great. You can have someone on the gimbal and actually moving in and out on the subject and change the focus. You see, with autofocus, it gets jumpy and it's not very reliable and you can't be creative. With this, you can have a second person pulling focus, which is huge. And this whole system, this Nucleus Nano is about $250 and this was about $450. It's a lot of money, it's about $700, but anything like this a couple years ago started at probably $6,000 or $7,000. So this is something that is really kind of changing the game for us smaller filmmakers. The one thing you do have to keep in mind is, again, that 10 millisecond delay will delay your focus pull. So if you're filming anything that's action or just really fast paced, it's going to be hard to stay in focus. And also, when you're just filming something slower, remember that you need to stop just before you get to that focus point because it's going to go a little further because there is a delay from these transmitters versus the focus, which is instant. So my final thoughts between the Zhiyun the Zhiyun TransMount image transmission transmitter, this guy, and this guy, versus the Hollyland Mars 300, I'm gonna have to say this gets a rating of, well, like I said before, neat. This, however, is fantastic. These little Zhiyuns are going back if they'll still take it. Oops. And this is something I'm going to use almost every time I can because it will help so much with our creativity and it will let us transmit images live. And that just opens up a whole bunch of new avenues for us. The last thing I am going to say, this is not something you buy before you buy a lens. This is something you buy later on down the road. I would get a gimbal first too. You don't need a gimbal in the beginning, but you definitely don't need this in the beginning. This is something you get later on once you have all of the other stuff you need. And that means lenses, lighting, stabilization, and then you can start looking at gadgets like this. And actually, this isn't a gadget. I'm gonna say this is a tool. This is a valuable tool in your kit. As usual, I'll leave links below on all of this stuff so you can check it out. It does support our channel if you do buy anything, and we do appreciate you using our links. We don't put the links there just to make money because we're really small and we don't expect to get much out of it. So if this is something that's been useful to you, please consider subscribing. We're gonna be doing more tech reviews like this every week, along with tutorials on filmmaking and just how to make it as a videographer, especially in the beginning. We're also gonna make a live stream every week after we release one of these videos. So anytime we release a video on Tuesday, and in this case, it's gonna be kind of late because we've been busy messing with Zhiyun. Love their gimbals. Anytime we make a video on Tuesday, we're going to release a live stream the following Tuesday, and after that, we're gonna publish another video. The live stream a week from today is going to be about these transmission systems, and if you guys have any questions at all, definitely tune in. We're gonna answer everything we can, and in the meantime, any comments you leave on this video, we will review those and bring those up in the next live stream in a week. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.